What is up, geeks? So I figured that I would make this video because you guys asked a lot of the same questions, and I thought it would be easier to refer to one video to answer all of those questions. I get the same questions like, is this lightsaber a good dueling lightsaber? Which lightsaber would be a great dueling lightsaber? How about Ultra Sabers? How about all these other custom lightsabers? What is the difference between the Force FX line and the Ultimate FX line? What's the difference between the Disney FX line and the Disney or the Hasbro Ultimate FX? And all these questions will be answered in this video. And I have each type of lightsaber out for you guys. I have about 25 or so lightsabers from different lines and different types and all of that stuff. As far as custom lightsabers, I only have Ultra Sabers, guys. So if you're looking for a breakdown of only customs, this is not the video. This is for licensed lightsabers, and I do have the Ultra Saber just to compare to the rest of the licensed lightsabers. So here we go. Let's start from left to right. I basically ordered this from poor, well, I don't want to say poor quality, but the cheapest quality to the most expensive quality. Not necessarily meaning one is better than the other. You know, everyone has their own tastes and different reasons for buying certain sabers. So first off, let's start by just naming all the sabers, and then we'll get into the details with each of them. So on the very left, we have the basic lightsaber. Then we have the electronic lightsaber. Then we have the Disney FX lightsaber. Then the Ultimate FX lightsaber. The Force FX lightsaber. And then that is a custom lightsaber, the Ultra Sabers Emerald Manticore, the one that has the most views on my YouTube channel. But let's just go and break down each of these sabers and tell you guys like what are the differences, what you can use them for, and whether they can be used for a duel or not, because that is definitely probably the most important question for all of you guys and one of the most popular questions I get on YouTube. So start from the left. Now these are the basic lightsabers. There are a bunch of different ones that range from, you know, having the button to open the lightsaber or to just simply flick out the lightsaber. But these are just colored lightsabers. They're collapsible. This one in particular is fully collapsible, meaning that you can fully collapse it so that way it only shows the hilt. Now, these are made of plastic. They relatively go around, you know, for $10 or so, give or take with tax. This is in particular the Obi-Wan basic lightsaber. And I love this version just because you have the button that will collapse it rather than flick it out, because a lot of people have trouble flicking that out and then collapsing it again. But this one's cool because it has the belt clip too, and it's one-to-one scale when it comes to the hilt. So these are not fully one-to-one when it comes to blade, meaning that they are scaled for kids. They look a bit small in your hand if you were to take pictures or cosplay with them, but they are great to hang on your belt for cosplay. So this is great for dueling, you know, because you don't have any lights to worry about. You don't have to worry about breaking it that much. It's pretty durable. I mean, the first thing that will happen is you'll start getting scratches on this blade, but that is fine. I mean, you're using it for dueling, so I foresee that not being a problem. But otherwise, this thing is pretty durable. The only thing you'd have to worry about is dropping this hilt one too many times, because I don't know if you can notice this, but it seems like there's two pieces. They molded one piece with the other piece, so there's potential for this to break in half. But otherwise, that is the breakdown for the basic lightsaber. Then we have the next step, which is the electronic lightsaber. So what is the difference between an electronic lightsaber and a basic lightsaber? Well, this has electronics in it. So this can be turned on and off. And so there's sound. There's even some functionality to it. So it's not as sensitive as it should be. It is pretty loud when it comes to the sound. But as you can see there, I was trying to tap it and it would only clash a certain amount of times. It does have the humming noises, which is really cool. And this is not fully collapsible. The reason why is because there's electronics in here. You can't fully collapse the blade because there's things in the way, basically. Now, this in particular, I haven't even reviewed this one yet, but I got this a while ago. And this was actually one of those build your own lightsabers at the Disney parks. And this was specifically at Florida, Disney World. And yeah, you can just put together different parts of the hilt. You can definitely see that there are different parts of different hilts here. So we have Darth Vader's, you know, the top of his hilt, and then we have the pommel of Obi-Wan's, and for whatever reason this has 2 cover tech wheels. But anyway, yeah, and then the Mace Windu in the middle. But yeah, there's different parts to this hilt, and it's pretty cool. So you can even put your own blade color on it. Now, these electronic lightsabers, I'm not particularly fond of, because sure, you can duel with them, and yeah, they have lights and sounds and everything, but they're not fully collapsible. So the most you can collapse it is up to here, so it kind of looks kind of weird. I'd either go one way or the other for me. I'd either go all the way electronic or all the way basic. But, I mean, to go in the middle, I guess you can kind of see the benefits of both. And these are definitely fine for dueling. This clear tube is cool, although, you know, this won't really scratch up as much as the other one, because that one's a different kind of plastic that scratches will show up on. This one won't show as much. These are pretty, you know, heavy. You can use them, but, I mean, you can even tell here the hilt is, like, way too big. But anyway, I mean, for whatever reason, I'm not really that fond of electronic lightsabers. I've said that in the past. But anyway, that's basically like around $20 to $25. I think that's also my thing about it. Like, the price point isn't really worth it. But, you know, you be the judge. The whole point of this video is to break down all the lightsabers. This is Lightsaber 101. So, here we go with the third lightsaber here. And this is one of my favorite lightsabers to date now. I mean, the type of lightsaber that this is the Disney Effects lightsaber. And what's really cool about this is, like an Ultimate Effects, which I'll break down next. This is Darth Maul one. This is the Kylo Ren Disney Effects. And what's great about this, it's a 1-to-1 scale hilt for adults. But then the blade, of course, is not as long as it should be. It's made for kids. But these have the day saber effect, meaning you can take pictures with this in sunlight and you can still see the color of the blade because it's already a colored blade. And you can even turn it on. You got the LED effect. So you can see there you got the scrolling effect. Now the thing about the scrolling effect that you have a problem with is because the LEDs are in the blade itself. If you were to constantly hit this blade over and over and over again, eventually one of these LEDs will break. And that's the problem with these types of sabers. The multiple LED string blades, you can call it. A string blade saber just has the blades in the blade itself. I mean, the LEDs in the blade itself. So yeah, over time you're gonna damage one of the LEDs if you hit it too hard. And that's the problem with these types of sabers. But it's really cool because you had that scrolling effect. It's more authentic to the way that it looks in the movie. So that's why it's fun to play with these. Now, these are pretty durable. They could take a beating. But like I said, if anything is going to give out, it's not going to be this plastic tube right here. It's going to be the LED within the tube. Now, these hilts are very detailed. I like them a lot. They're, you know, pretty cool. So I like these a lot. And the price point on these are very cheap compared to the Ultimate Effects. These go for $30 in the Disney store. So definitely a great steal. I'm very fond of these Disney Effects lightsabers. So on to the next one. We have the Darth Maul Ultimate Effects. This one is definitely cool. Like the Disney Effects, they're made of plastic. From afar, they kind of look like they're metal, so they pass off as a nice replica. They're 1-to-1 scale, meaning the hilt is in size for an adult, but the blade is about the same length as the Disney Effects. They're made for kids, and this also had the scrolling effect. So you can even see that there's a separation in the LEDs because there's multiple LEDs in this string blade. And so what happens with that is that, you know, since the LEDs are kind of spread apart, you can definitely see the separations, which a lot of people are not fond of, and I can understand that. But from afar, it's not too big of a deal. You can't really notice it. but of course from up close you can definitely tell. Unlike the Force FX has more LEDs in their blade, so it doesn't look as separated. There are times when you can see the separations, but it's not as bad as these. Now these are, like the name says, an ultimate effects, but it is not a Force FX, meaning the hilts are not metal, and also it's just not as good quality. You know, you can see here that there's a separation in the hilt. It looks like they molded the two pieces of plastic together. If you were to drop this thing, I'm sure over time you would break it in half. All the pieces are plastic. There's no metal in here at all except for the screws. The batteries, they take 3 AA batteries. So, I mean, these are pretty good, and up until when the Disney effects came out, these were my second option next to the Force FX line. Now, the great thing about the Ultimate Effects line, they come out with a bunch of different sabers. So this one is the Darth Maul one, and you can actually, sorry, I didn't mean to turn it on then, but you can actually unscrew this, put the coupler on there, and then put the other Darth Maul hilt, and you can have the double-bladed lightsaber, which is really cool. And I also have the Yoda, I have the Qui-Gon, I have the Obi-Wan, the Luke, Darth Vader. I have a bunch of these Ultimate Effects sabers, so they're a great, cheaper option. Now, they're more expensive than the Disney effects, which is why I'm starting to lean towards the Disney effects, but there are more of them. There are more different designs. These go for about 50 to 60. The problem is they stopped making them, so they're in that range or even higher than that. You know, some can even go for the hundreds. And I don't know if you're going to be wanting to spend that much on a plastic hilt that's not a removable blade. You know, so far we haven't encountered any removable blades yet. This one isn't removable either. And basically what that means is, like, you can take out this blade part from the hilt and just show off the hilt part. These CoverTech wheels, they look cool, but they're not functional. But it is nice to have them on there. But anyway, that is basically it for the Ultimate Effects. And now we'll get into the Force Effects. Now these are very high quality sabers, and definitely my favorite next to the Customs. But this is my prized possession here. I recently, did a review, a comparison, comparing this one to the Disney Ray saber. There's a lot of feedback from you guys because, I'll get into this little, this thing right here. So, guys, I understand this is, there's so much confusion with this particular saber. When it comes to the Graflex, guys, I know it's not Ray's, but the product that they were selling at the Disney store, it said Ray on it. I understand this comes from Anakin, it went to Luke, and it went to blah, 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 blah. I know all that lineage, but in particular, this design was from Luke's Episode 4 lightsaber in the movie. You can look it up on Google Images. They have a comparison. Over the years, this Graflex lightsaber had a lot of different modifications. So that's the end of the story there. I don't want to go into much of that, but I get a lot of comments regarding that. Anyway, the Force Effects line is great. I mean, they look like real props. They are metal hilts. Almost everything on here is metal. You'll be, very surprised to see any kind of plastic here. There are just some plastic pieces. These little things here, some of it is plastic, but otherwise, most of it is metal. And there's even some rubber here. So there's a lot of different materials that they use. Now, this one in particular, which is really cool about it, is like you can unscrew this and remove the blade. Now, not all of the Force Effects lightsabers, especially the ones that they recently came out with, the Black Series ones, they are not removable blades. But this one in particular, this edition, it came from 2010, and this one is a removable blade. They go for a little bit more than the ones that are not removable blades, but nowadays, because this line isn't really, unlike the Black Series that just came out, the Force FX line was kind of dead for a couple of years. So they are very expensive now, and they're out of stock. You could barely find them, and at one point, when my uncle bought this for me, it was about $125. So nowadays, this particular saber can probably cost you about 200, 300 range just because they stopped making these. So these are very valuable. The battery pack is in the bottom. The speakers are very loud compared to the ultimate effects or the electronic lightsaber. So I mean, this doesn't even, you know, come close to the custom that I have when it comes to sound, but it's definitely better than all the ones that I've gone through already. Probably the highest quality next to the other ones. And this string blade has a lot more LEDs, so you could barely see the separations in between. So yeah, you can definitely see, and look how great that blade looks. It's very nice. But yeah, this uses the sounds from the movie, and this is still a licensed saber. All of these that I've gone through so far are licensed sabers. And what do I mean when I say a licensed saber? That means that Star Wars and Lucasfilm gave the license to use these particular lightsabers, and the designs are straight from Star Wars. So that's what I mean by licensed. So the last one, my most expensive saber, I spent about $500. That's another question that I get a lot. How much did I spend on this? Is about $500+. And this is the Emerald Manticore from Ultra Sabers. Now, I will go over this as if it's just a custom lightsaber. Just to tell you guys like an overview, all custom lightsabers are like this one. Meaning like the designs that they have are not licensed. Star Wars doesn't give them a license to make their own lightsabers. They kind of just do it. And, I mean, thankfully they haven't gotten sued yet. But you have Park Sabers, you have Saber Forge, you have, you know, all these different ones. You know, there are just so many, and I'm going blank with some of the names right now. I mean, Makoto is like one of the best sabers you can get, one of the brightest blades that you can get. There's just so many different options when it comes to customs within their own brand. So that's very cool. Now mine in particular is an in-hilt LED, meaning that the LEDs come directly from this hilt and there's no string blade. Now there are customs out there. I believe Park Sabers has the string blade LEDs, which means the LEDs are in the blade itself. Now their quality of blades are so strong that you can even duel with those and you don't have to worry about breaking some of the LEDs. Now this is the safest route. If you want to go and duel and you want a high quality saber, custom sabers like this with an in-hilt LED is the best option, because you're not breaking any LEDs here because the LED is coming from the hilt. You're just breaking the blade eventually. The only thing with Ultra Sabers, what I've heard is that if you duel with it enough, the top of this thing, because there's a separation here at the top where there's a little, you know, the end of the tip right here, it would come off sometimes. So I know there are different options now. People are screwing the tips on, and different custom saber shops, sabersmiths are doing that, and that's a great option too. But you can definitely duel with this saber. It's almost made for dueling, really, whether you have sound or without sound. Now, the breakdown with this guy, I have a whole entire review about, you know, with the saber, like I mentioned before. But just an overview, there's sound in this. There's swinging sounds. There's clashing sounds. There's even flash on clash, which means, let me just demonstrate that. So if you're going against a different saber and you clash together, so it does that. As if you guys are just like locking on there, you know. But anyway, yeah, this one comes with sound. This one comes with, you know, customization. You can plug this into the computer and change the color of the LED. Mine's on green right now, but you can even, you know, that pulse effect that I have on the saber, you can edit that. So that's why this one was like $500. Now there are cheaper options out there. I have a dueling saber that's a stun saber, the RGB, which you can change colors too, but it's in hilt changing. You can even have a stun saber where there's no sound or anything, and you know, it's just a basic one color blade. And yeah, so there's just so many options out there. It can range anywhere from $50 to $500, even more. You know, whether you're staying within Ultra Sabers or you're going outside to different customs. You could make your own types of sabers. So there's so many options with the custom sabers. You can do a whole entire video with just breaking down custom sabers. But being that I only have Ultra Sabers to go off of, I don't have really much to say about custom sabers. I am trying to branch out. I might go into different custom sabers. I'm thinking about it. You know, I've looked into Saber Forge. I've looked into, you know, even Makoto. But for right now, you know, with my price range, I don't want to spend too much, being that I have so many lightsabers. But comment below. Let me know what brands you like and which one I should check out. But anyway, guys, that is basically my breakdown for all my lightsabers here, or the different types of lightsabers you can get. I hope you liked my review. And please comment below if you have any other questions that I did not answer in this video. And if you have questions that are answered in this video, I will be referring to this video a lot and probably copying and pasting this link to the comments section. But anyway, I will end this video by showing you guys just all of these lightsabers lit up just for fun. So thank you guys for watching. If you watched all of this video, well, you deserve to give this video a big thumbs up, and I'd like to see who actually watched all of this video. So guys, until next time, thanks for your support, and embrace, express, and enjoy yourself. May the Force be with you always, my young Padawan.